Hello, travelers. Welcome to Fulbright Week at Reach the World. For over 20 years, Reach the World has used virtual exchange to inspire youth to become curious, confident, and compassionate global citizens. This week, we are proud to celebrate our longstanding partnership with the Fulbright program. Fulbright travelers work tirelessly to foster mutual understanding between the people of the United States and other nations. Under normal circumstances, Fulbright travelers share their experiences abroad with K-12 students in the US through Reach the World virtual exchanges and school visits. This week, however, we are bringing their stories and the world directly into your homes. You can find a complete listing of Fulbright Week live stream events and much more at athome.reachtheworld.org. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant, Paul Dela Rosa. Paul is from Tarlac City in the central Philippines, and he just finished teaching Tagalog at Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois. So he's a language teacher of the Filipino language at Northern Illinois University. Today, Paul is going to do a deep dive into the mouth-watering cuisine of the Philippines. I'm so excited to learn more. To our live stream viewers, please use the YouTube chat bar to let us know you're here, and also to share any questions you have for Paul. We'll get to as many questions as we can today, and I'm excited to dive into Filipino cuisine. So without further delay, welcome to Reach the World, Paul.
Oh, thank you very much, Reach the World, for inviting me. Hi everyone, mabuhay. That's how we say it in Tagalog. Mabuhay. I am Paul Dela Rosa, and as mentioned by Tim, I was a foreign language teaching assistant at Northern Illinois University, and I teach Tagalog at NIU. I'm from the Philippines, so I'm proud Filipino. Hello everyone.
All right, well, it's great to meet you, and thanks for joining us today. Do you want to dive right into your presentation for today?
Yeah, sure. So my presentation is about it's basically a Filipino food guide. So we will be traveling and witnessing how diverse and how different the Filipino food is, because the Philippines is an archipelago, and each region has its own cuisine that they take pride of. And I'll be showing you some of these cuisines or some of these dishes, and I divided it into three. So we have the starters or the appetizers, and then the main courses or the main dishes, and then we have some sweets and street foods to see. Okay. So the title of my presentation is Masarap, which means delicious. So before we delve into the food culture in the Philippines, let us learn first some Tagalog words. Okay, so we have the first one, mabuhay. Mabuhay in English is long live. So that's what we say when we greet other people, like mabuhay, long live. But you say it with conviction, because long live means you want people to be energetic. And then kumain ka na, have you eaten? They say the Filipino way of greeting others is kumain ka na, have you eaten? Kumain is from comer in Spanish, because our language is influenced by Spanish, because we were colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years. The country, I mean. And then kain tayo, that's related to my presentation. That means let's eat. So kain tayo, let's eat. And masarap, as I've mentioned, means delicious. Okay. So let's start off with this one. I consider Filipinos as rice busters because we love rice. Rice every day, like rice for breakfast, for lunch, for snacks, for desserts, and even during the dinner time, we love rice. And that makes sense because it's in Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia is one of the top producing one of the top producing regions in the world as regards rice. So rice is an important food or a staple food in the Philippines. Okay, let's start off with the appetizer. So for the appetizer, we have here a picture of sinigang. It's called sinigang. Sinigang it's a hot sour soup. It's made from any fruit that is sour. You mix in the broth, and then you mix vegetables like okra, tomatoes, sometimes radish, and even swamp cabbage. And here in the picture, we have a shrimp sinigang because the main ingredient is shrimp. But other Filipinos also put in meat like pork meat and beef. So that's hot sour soup. It's good when the weather is cold. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, we can't experience winter because it's summer all year long. But still, we love sinigang. Next is pancit. We call it pancit, or this is egg noodle dish. And this was influenced by the Chinese merchants who have been exchanging goods with the Philippines since the beginning. And we take pride of the fact that the first Chinatown in the whole world is actually in the Philippines. That's how strong our connection is to the Chinese people. And this is their influence, pancit. But the Filipinos made it different by adding innards of pork, of a pig, like gizzards. We put liver, and it tastes good. It's a savory dish, and Filipinos prepare pancit every time it's their birthday because they believe there's a superstition that if you prepare pancit, you're gonna live longer. So it's for long life. Okay, so those are for the starters or the appetizers. Let's proceed to the main course. One of the famous dishes of the Philippines is adobo. And adobo is a meat braised in soy sauce and vinegar. So any kind of meat, you have chicken, pork, sometimes they use beef. And this is influenced by the Spaniards. Adobo came from the cooking method called adobado. Adobado from, as I mentioned, from Spain. And you put in soy sauce, vinegar, and spices like peppercorns and bay leaf to make the sauce more flavorful. And if you wanna visit a Filipino restaurant somewhere, the first dish that you should try is the adobo because this is our national dish. By the way, just to inform you, this is our national dish in the Philippines. Mhm. Another one is mixed veggies or pakbet or pinakbet. For the vegan or no sorry for the vegetarians, you will love this because it's mixed vegetables. Any kind of vegetables that you have there, just mix it in, saute the vegetables in garlic and onions, and then you put in some meat. In the Philippines, what they do is they also put shrimp paste to make it a little salty, on the salty side. And then they also mix in fried pork, pork chop, sometimes they mix in dried fish because especially among the places in the Philippines that are near the coastlines. And this is good. This is very healthy, and a lot of YouTube travelers who are in the Philippines right now, they say that one of the best dishes that they've tried in the Philippines is this one, pakbet or pinakbet. Next is this is again Spanish influence. It's a whole pig that we roast. It's a roasted pig and we call it lechon. It's also called lechon in other Latin countries like Puerto Rico. I heard in Puerto Rico they also call it lechon, and it's simply a whole roast pig. And this is a special Filipino food item because we only prepare lechon when there are special occasions like weddings, baptisms, and other big occasions that you can name. And the best part here is eating is eating the skin of the pork because it's salty, savory, and at the same time very crispy. However, this is a sinful dish. It's good, but you have to check your blood pressure after eating it because of the fat. But it's a very good dish. Okay, let's proceed with the desserts or the sweets. So for the desserts and sweets, we have here layered glutinous rice. As I've said, Filipinos love rice. So even in desserts, we incorporate rice into our desserts, like sapin-sapin or layered glutinous rice. And as you can see, it's layered with different colors of glutinous rice. And it's sweet, and we put desiccated coconuts, or uh, sometimes they put sugar on top. And this one, they say, represents the colorful and vibrant culture of the Philippines, like all mixed in, because the Filipino culture is a mix of different cultures like Spanish, Chinese, even Americans. We have the American culture incorporated in our culture even up to this day. So whenever they see this sapin sapin, they say, "Oh, it's a good representation of how colorful the Filipino culture is." Okay, next is the bibingka or the rice cake. So bibingka or rice cake is the method of cooking it is what I want to emphasize, because they cook it with charcoal on top and then another layer of charcoal at the bottom, so that you can have a, a perfectly cooked rice cake. And they do it, it's a tradition in the Philippines. They only do this during Christmas time. And another fact is that the longest Christmas in the world, they say, is in the Philippines. The longest Christmas celebration, because we start decorating our houses and preparing for the Christmas day in September, and then we end in January. That's how long the celebration is in the Philippines. And one of the food items that Filipinos are looking for during the Advent season is the bibingka or rice cake. So what happens is we go to church for the Misa de Gallo, that's the Mass of the Rooster, in preparation for the Christmas day. And then right after the Mass, there are vendors of bibingka or rice cake outside that you could go to and buy. And this is perfect with hot coffee or hot chocolate. And then they also put here red eggs or salted eggs, and desiccated coconuts as well. Okay. Now, since the Philippines is a tropical country and we long for anything cold, cold drinks, cold desserts, this is one of them. And this is called halo halo. Halo halo in English literally means mix mix, because you have different ingredients all mixed in one glass, and then just mix it and then dig in. Uh, the ingredients that you can see here are tropical fruits like banana. You have root crops such as cassava and sweet potato and beans. You have coconut jelly, or we call it nata de coco or coconut jelly. And then we put shredded coconuts. And then on top, to make it special, we put ube or purple yam, ice cream, Rice Krispies, and leche flan. Leche flan is our egg custard. It's the egg custard in the Philippines. And then below is at the bottom you have there the shaved ice. So you put in evaporated milk, and then after doing that, you mix everything. You halo everything, halo halo, and then that's your halo halo or mix dessert. Very Filipino. Okay, and this time, please promise me not to react violently. I have here two exotic food or street foods in the Philippines that Filipinos love. The first one is called kwek kwek or These are quail eggs coated in orange flour mixed with a orange food color to give it a vibrant orange color, and they sell it on the streets like 0.99 cents if you will convert Philippine peso to dollars. And then to make the experience more exciting, you dip it in either vinegar or a specially made soy sauce for the tukneneng. And you have to be careful as well when you eat it because quail eggs are high in cholesterol. So maybe one or two will do, but if you love it and you are not hypertensive, then you can eat more. One of the exotic foods that other other people are somewhat scared about when they talk about exotic food in the Philippines is this one. It's called balut. It's called balut, or a fertilized duck egg. So it's a fertilized duck egg. You can see here the cute little duck. We eat it. Like even the duck we eat, and the rest of the what's inside the egg, especially the broth from it, because it's really tasty. And they say that although there's no scientific explanation about it, they say that when you eat balut, that makes your bones stronger. And other people consider it as an aphrodisiac. Yeah, they consider it as an aphrodisiac. So it's balut. They sell it for like less than 50 cents. And you can hear Filipinos, vendors of balut shouting, balut, 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 you buy balut, or bili na kayo ng balut, because it's a staple street food in the Philippines as well, just like tukneneng. Okay, now I have here extra pictures that are special to my heart, because this is what we do at Northern Illinois University. Because as I've said, I'm a Tagalog language teaching assistant, and what we wanna do at NIU with my supervisor, Professor Crail, is we wanna bring the Philippines into the NIU classroom, and this is one of our big events during the fall semester, and we call it a boodle fight. This is a Filipino way of eating together. So what happens in the boodle fight is you prepare a long table, and then you have there different kinds of food, Filipino food, like the ones that I've mentioned, and of course rice. You have vegetables, meat, and rice. You lay all this food on the long table, and then people gather together to eat. But the twist there is you have to eat with your bare hands. So others, like my other students, they are not so into eating with bare hands. So we provided plastic gloves. That's okay as well. But for you to experience how it really is, you have to really use your bare hands. Just wash your hands before eating, of course. And this is a symbolism of brotherhood and togetherness among Filipinos. And in the Chicago area, I know there's one restaurant that offers this boodle fight experience. It's in terms of the term boodle fight, it came from it started as a military practice among Filipino soldiers, that whenever they want to eat together, they do boodle fight. It's not literally fight that you throw food at each other. It's like it's a fight because you don't want the other person standing next to you to eat your food. So you eat and eat, and until such time that the food in front of you is already, you have finished the food in front of you, and the one standing next to you could grab the food that is in front of you, and you don't want that to happen, especially when you're hungry. So it's called boodle fight. And these are our Tagalog students at NIU. Okay, and we also have our version of a Filipino fast food chain. A fast food chain, I mean, just like McDonald's. This is considered as the McDonald's of the Philippines. It's called Jollibee. Jollibee because their mascot is a jolly big bee. and I had the chance to go to one of their outlet stores here in the Chicago area. This one is in North Elston Avenue, I think near Niles in Chicago. And I was able to eat my favorite Jollibee food, like Filipino style spaghetti. It's on the sweeter side, and we put hot dogs on it. It's very different. We have the peach mango pie, which is very popular. Their fried chicken, they say it's meaty, juicy, and delicious. We have here glass noodles, and of course, we also have they also have serve French fries. So if you wanna try Filipino fast food chain, a Filipino fast food chain, or a fast food chain that is uniquely Filipino, go to any Jollibee branch. They have all around the United States, but most of the branches are in California because there are more Filipinos there. They also have two here in Chicago and one in New York. Okay, so that's it. Maraming salamat for joining me as we travel gastronomically to the Philippines. And kain na tayo, let's all eat. Thank you very much. Maraming
John Paul, that was fascinating. Thank you so much for that great walkthrough, those menu items. I have so many questions. I want to give live stream viewers a chance to ask questions too. So if you're watching the live stream today and you have a question for John Paul, please feel free to drop it into the chat bar. We'll be sure to share it with him. And if you are watching the recording after the fact, yeah, you unfortunately can't ask him a question live, but I hope we get to your question in the course of our conversation. And I'll just sort of get us started with a question that I have. It seemed clear that a lot of the food that is part of the Filipino cuisine is sort of directly related to the temperature and the weather and the growing conditions in the Philippines. You said the Philippines is an archipelago, a chain of islands. It seemed like there was a lot of seafood eaten.
Yeah, we have a long coastline, so there are a lot of seafood dishes that each region takes pride, and most of these dishes are fermented seafood, and they also make some condiments out of this seafood.
Okay, yeah, it sounds good. What is it sounds like you got a chance to get some of the food you're missing from home by visiting the Filipino fast food restaurant. But is there anything else in particular that you're really missing? I know you've been in the United States for quite a while now, and you're just waiting for the chance to go back after COVID-19. But what are you missing?
Actually, in terms of food, because I'm being hosted by a Filipino American family, so we always cook Filipino food. But one particular Filipino food that I miss is eating fish balls and the kwek that I showed. Street food in the Philippines, yeah, because I consider them as my comfort food as well.
Mm. I thought it was interesting in the desserts and the mix that even in a dessert you've found a way to put vegetables in it. It's something that is not that common in the United States to include vegetables in a dessert.
Yeah, they're all on the sweet side, so don't worry about eating vegetables on a dessert because they are sweetened versions. But yeah, I think that's a representation as well of the Filipinos. Like we can easily adapt to any. They say Filipinos can easily adapt to any situation, whatever they are. Filipinos are all over the world, just like the halo-halo. You just mix in everything, and then you create this wonderful dessert, this sweet. You create this wonderful dessert that is good during the summertime because it's a cold dessert.
Yeah, can you just generally talk about what the weather and the climate is like in the Philippines and if it's different from area to area?
As I've mentioned, it's summer all year long in the Philippines. You only have two seasons: wet season and hot season or dry season. And unfortunately, the Philippines is located in the Pacific Ring of Fire, which means that we experience a minimum of 12 typhoons a year. We call them typhoon or hurricanes. And then there are 50 active volcanoes spread all throughout the Philippine archipelago, and the climate is hot. Like when I went here in the US, my students were laughing at me because it's 80 degrees, but for me, 80 degrees Fahrenheit is already cold. So I was wearing a thick jacket, a minimum of 2 layers, and then my students were like, Kuya Paul, Kuya means big brother in Tagalog. Kuya Paul, why are you wearing a jacket? It's not even cold. But they don't understand that for me, it's already cold because the average temperature in the Philippines is like 100. Mhm.
So you must have been were you disappointed or excited to experience winter in Illinois?
Actually, I was more excited because this my first time to see snow. This is my first time to see snow firsthand. And in the Philippines, they really love to see snow firsthand. And once I was asked by my student, Kuya, what's that specific thing that you will miss when you go back to the Philippines? And it's like an autopilot, and I said, the snow, the snow, the snow. I will miss the snow. Yeah, it's nice to look at it from your room outside from the inside of your room, but to experience it, sometimes you'll get tired of experiencing the cold weather, but it's nice to look at.
All right. I have a question from online. One of the viewers would like to know, you mentioned that there were influences of Spanish and Chinese in some of the Philippine dishes. Are those specific to regions of the Philippines, or are those influences seen across the country?
Oh, for the Spanish, it's across the country because Spanish colonizers had settled in all throughout the Philippine archipelago. In fact, in the southern Philippines, they have a Creole language, which is called one of the Spanish Creole languages in the world. It's called Chabacano. Unfortunately, it's now a dying language. So they have a Spanish influences there as well. But in terms of the Chinese, only the northern and the central Philippines, because those are the regions where Chinese merchants settled.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder for all of the young people who are interested now in the Philippines and trying some of these dishes, and hopefully someday down the road we'll get to the Philippines,
Mhm.
where would you recommend that people go to experience some of these dishes? Are there certain places?
Yeah, actually, my province is close to the culinary capital of the Philippines. The culinary capital of the Philippines is called Pampanga. It's in central Philippines as well. Central, they call it Central Luzon Plain, in Central Luzon Plain, and they have savory dishes there, all types of savory dishes, the best dishes, as they say, in the Philippines. And if you want to experience it, it's just 3 hours away from the capital city, Manila. So it's very accessible. And if you want, you can also go to our province, which is called Tarlac, because we have the same culinary we have the same food culture in that province called Pampanga. But anywhere in the Philippines, they have different dishes that are worthy to be tried by uh, foreigners.
Okay, we have another online user who has tried balak. Am I saying it right? And
What?
the fertilized duck egg.
Yeah, balut.
Balut, and says it's an acquired taste. Maybe you have to have it a couple times.
Yeah, it grows on you actually. Like me, I'm a Filipino, but growing up, I used I consider balut as a gross something that's gross, but it grows on you, as I've said. And when you're already used to the taste, you're gonna love it. You're gonna like it. With the baby duck, the duck itself, when you eat it, you also eat the feathers, so you have to be prepared for that. The texture is a little weird, but I tell you, it's delicious.
Okay, well, I'll give it a try, and I hope people
Yeah.
will give it a try at least once to see if they like it.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, this time has just absolutely flown by. I I want to finish with a question that I ask everybody I speak to on these live streams. I know that you're waiting for your opportunity. Your semester's over, and you're going to be going back home pretty soon, maybe with an extension in the United States. But as soon as you're freed up from quarantine and you're free to roam about the world, besides going back and seeing your family members, what will be your next adventure?
Oh, my next adventure, we've been planning about this for a long time, but because of the pandemic, it didn't materialize. We want to go to Starved Rock Park here in northeastern Illinois, northern Illinois, I should say. And I wanna see my students. I wanna see my supervisor. Like I miss interacting with them, and I wanna have my last photo shoot at Northern Illinois University. Like everything there. Just before I go back to the Philippines, I wanna have my souvenir photos of the wonderful university that hosted me for 9 months. And believe it or not, uh, I am I think I'm the luckiest Filipino FLTA because NIU is like home for me. It's in the US, but they didn't make us feel that we are foreigners in that university. So that's what I'm most thankful for.
Well, I look forward to you getting the chance to do all of those things. And I'm so appreciative that you joined us today. I learned so much about Filipino cuisine. I'm sure all of our viewers did as well. And I just really want to thank you for joining Reach the World. You are such a great representative of the Fulbright organization. And I want to thank our entire live stream audience as well for joining us and going on this journey today. For anyone who's watching the recording, also thanks for joining us. You can check in at athome.reachtheworld.org for a full list of our remaining Fulbright Week activities. And I hope you'll join us for one or more of them. So, John Paul, thanks again. I hope to
As we
see
say
you
it
again
in
soon.
Tagalog, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, everyone.